queen has passed. A monarch of the longest time ever on the planet that we call Earth. And I have the emotions which are mixed. These are: monarchies suck. Why is it still going? Why do people who don't live there care? And how can you make the world a better place without them? I don't know. Can't it just be a regular thing? I think of America, how we left to create our independence and get away from that. And then there's people that are just like, oh, this is just the worst thing ever. But I don't know enough, right? I don't care to know enough, haven't looked into enough. And just from an outside perspective, think over, don't really like what it is, stands for, has been, and will continue to be. Because right now it's like at that, like, it just exists for the cool factor. And I don't know, that doesn't seem right. And then the poor dude, King Charles, like, been groomed his whole life to be a king, and now he's 73 and just done with. Like, now he's the king, and it's like, I mean, I don't get it. I mean, I think they should have just handed the baton over handed the scepter over a little bit earlier to watch him enjoy the fruits of that labor, or the family labor, or whatever. But so be it. The idea of doing all you can to create the best that you can, and the expiration, that which is life, is very bizarre. What I say is, only so much time, finite amount of energy, do what you can, make what you can, be the best you can be. And how do you do that? Plan, act accordingly, speak it into the universe, write it down, surround yourself with people with the same idea, share your ideas, and take the unmotivation, because by sharing those ideas, you are going to have naysayers up your yin yang, and use that to motivate you to get stuff done, and use your circular energy to make the best that you can out of what you got going on. Try your hardest, do your best at every single thing you do, from being a queen to a podcast to a poet to the newspaper boy. Kick butt, take names, and if everybody did that, the world would be a better place. Read a book. Selected poems of Langston Hughes. This is poetry literature, and it's pretty good. I've heard of Langston Hughes ever since grade school, I believe, and I've never sat down and read his stuff. So I read his whole book, Classical Collection of Poems by the Master of American Verse, and it's good. I don't think it's the greatest thing ever. I don't think he's the greatest poet ever, and I probably don't think he thought he was the greatest poet ever. But it is good, and I think not enough people read poetry, and you need to be digesting this stuff. Let's flip to a random poem and read it out loud, because that's always fun. Here we go. Oh, I picked a long one. Intern at Provident. White coats, white aprons, white dresses, white shoes, pain and a lettering to take away to Alabama. Practice on a state street cancer, practice on a stockyard rupture, practice on the small appendix of a 26 girl at the corner, learning skills of surgeons, brown and wonderful, with longing to cure ills of Africa, democracy, and mankind, also ills quite common among all who stand on 2 feet. Brown hands, black hands, golden hands, and white coat. Nurse's hands on suture, miracle, maternity, pain on hind legs rising, pain tamed and subsidizing, pain tamed and subsiding, like a mule broke to the halter. Charities checked money, AIDS triumphant, entry squalling, after bitter thrust of bearing, chocolate and blood, projection of a day. Tears of joy and Coca-Cola twinkle on the rubber gloves. He's wearing a crown of sweat, gleams on his forehead. In the white moon of the amphitheater, magi are staring. The light on the Palmolive building shines like a star in the east. Nurses turn glass doorknobs, opening into corridors. A mist of iodine and ether follows the young doctor. Cellophanes his long stride, cellophanes his future. And that is probably the best example, because he's got like word plays and words you don't know, and then bringing in the cellophane and the doctors and the surgeons and the glistening sweat and the palm olive, which is basically a soap, but then he's bringing it into a building, and I'm thinking of like modern day stadiums, how they're sponsored and were they back then, and who knows. But read more poetry. Saw some movies. This, dude. Mandy. And this is by Panos Cosmatos. I know I butchered that, but this movie's gnarly, dude. A primal psychedelic rage scream of a movie, and it's maybe the best character ever that Nicolas Cage has played. A dude out for revenge after they, lit his love of his life on fire, and he goes after him. And I would highly suggest watching this. The quiet life of devoted couple Red, Nicholas, leaving Las Vegas, and Mandy takes a dark and bizarre turn when a nightmarish cult and their maniacal leader seek to possess Mandy, body and soul. A shocking assault on the innocents pair leads to a spiraling, surreal, bloody rampage of all-out, mind-altering vengeance. And that's exactly what it is. It's filmed in like these beautiful pinks. That's why this thing's pink, and the color schemes are fantastic. And like I said, we know Nicolas Cage has been in a ton of movies, and this has got to be the coolest character he has ever played. Also, I saw Night of the Juggler. And it's kind of like a kidnapping story, 1980, New York. Really, really good. It's not available on DVD. I saw it on YouTube, so you can probably peep it out here on YouTube. And it's just a great story. It wasn't that good a quality, the version that I saw, but the story was so good. And there's like some chase scenes that just get your heart pumping and just everything. I would definitely check it out. Night of the Juggler. Also, She Fought Alone, starring Tiffany Amber Thiessen and rapper extraordinaire Brian Austin Green. And this was like a Lifetime original movie made for TV, but it's pretty cool. I mean, not pretty cool, that's the worst words to use for this, but it's like a story of a small town school where the teachers are all on the sides of the football team, and a mother and her daughter kind of fight the system to show that they're not always as awesome as they swear they are. And I saw a Sadafi Brothers film, Uncut Gems, starring Adam Sandler, and this is an intense, high-stakes triumph, and it was. It's really good, dude. I just trip out that Adam Sandler, the funniest dude in the world, can just go into these crazy, solid roles, and this is a good movie. If you haven't seen it, definitely check it out. I had never seen it. I know a lot of people have, and a lot of people don't like it, but I thought it was really good. And the Safdie brothers, the Safdie, or I don't even know how you say it, but they're freaking awesome. They did Good Time. They did, well, one of them's in Licorice Pizza, and they know their stuff, and this is no exception. It's pretty cool about a jewel guy that's addicted to gambling. He's got basketball players and stuff in there. And I finally saw, which I had never seen since the beginning of time because I was scared to check it out. Not scared, but just didn't think I'd like it. But I did. Willow, a Ron Howard film. This is a fantasy movie about witchcraft, and Val Kilmer's in it. Young Val Kilmer kills it, and it's a journey to the far corners of your imagination. There's a baby that is gonna kill the witch's powers or the queen's powers, and then the mother steals it and puts it in down the river, and then all the king's knights and horses are looking for it, and it ends up in this village of little people, and then they go on a journey to take it back, and they're looking for it, and they find Val Kilmer in a crow cage, and I don't know, it's freaking awesome. You've probably seen it, so you already know. That being said, try your hardest, do your best, read more books, stay amazing, stay humble, stay gracious. Podcast Jebuth.